Merry meet and welcome to Thrilling Thursday here at Ariel's Corner. This is Ariel Gatoga, and we are streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch. And we are here for our 5th class, 5 out of 6, for advancing your craft. So we have today and next week, and then we will be finished with this course. And I'm so happy to be here with you. Let's see. We're streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch. Moderating today on YouTube are the lovely Honeypaw and the lovely Jennifer. And moderating on Twitch is the lovely I Am Her Eminence. Yay! Thank you so much, moderators, and thanks to everybody for joining us today. We got a lot to get through, so you know the drill about all of our where our website is, and you can ask questions on the chat thread. You can give donations if you feel like it. There's the same old announcement. So I'm just going to forego all that, and we're going to get right to our class today so we don't go over too much, because I got to get to work today. Ariel needs to pay some bills. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing here. Hang on a second. Okay. If you're in a place where it is safe and appropriate, please close your eyes and begin to take some nice, long, slow, deep, relaxing breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. With every inhale, feel more light and peace entering the body and mind. And with every exhale, feel like you're letting go of all tension in your body, along with anything in your mind that you do not want. Inhaling peace and exhaling as you let go. We picture ourselves on top of a beautiful mountain in the center of a circular grove of trees. In the center of our circle, a bonfire blazes forth, lighting us and the grove with a sacred golden light. In the center of our circle, a bonfire blazes forth, lighting us and the grove with a sacred golden light. This is the light of perfect love and perfect trust, and it easily and gently burns away everything unlike itself, leaving us safe and serene. Into this sacred space, we invoke the presence of our Creator. To many of us, our Creator reveals themselves to be a mother and father, a goddess and God. We also invite the presence of our angels, our guides, our teachers. We ask that we be guided and led as we walk upon the way, becoming happier, more powerful, more magical, more peaceful, and more loving people. Blessed be. To learn how to close my eyes when I'm doing that so I'm not distracted by things that are going on around me. All right. This is lesson 5 of advancing your craft. Just a moment, please. I've lost my notes. Hold on just a moment. Okay. There we go. This is lesson 5 of advancing your craft. Last week we went into somewhat of a detail about the Akashic records and how to work magic using the Akashic records. And I even included a guided meditation to help you along with that. We also discussed the power of the magical will, also called the true will or the divine design. We also deepened our understanding of receiving guidance. We learned how to adjust our vibrations and how to use our emotions as guidelines to vibrations. And that was a whole lot to cover, especially on top of the fact that you're already doing regular spell work, etc. from previous weeks. So there's a lot to discuss each week in this course. And the fact that it's a somewhat advanced course makes it even more challenging for some of us because the principles are not as concrete as they are in some of the more beginning oriented or even in the beginning or intermediate course, because as we move into the advanced ideas of the craft, we allow our minds to open to more abstract concepts. So this week, excuse me. There we go. This week we are going to focus on the witch light and also on sonic power. We're going to move into these concepts to discuss how to apply them to enhance your magic. And these seemingly simple techniques will sound maybe simple, but they are very potent, so don't underestimate them. Let's say that again. These seemingly simple techniques are very potent, so don't underestimate them. If you're new to this idea, or if you're new to these ideas, consider starting with our if a lot of this that we're covering in here is something that you're new to and you haven't really been exposed to any craft training, you may want to start off with a witch's primer and beyond the basics before you come into this course so that you get the full benefit from it. After you've completed advancing your craft, you will have come full circle. And then you can, if you decide to, transition back into using your tools, deities, spirit names, and things like that. And you'll see improved results. And some of you may decide not to go back to using tools, etc. And you may just stay using the abstract principles like we've been working with here. Either way is purely up to you. Neither is better than the other. So let's talk about the witch light. The witch light is a versatile tool. And a lot of times people talk about using white light, just see white light. And the white light is similar to the witch light because it's used sort of universally. White light is very protective and very purifying, while the witch light is more of that electric blue light, and it's more power oriented. And they can be used interchangeably. And as you're continuing to work with your orb of light in these classes, you're getting better at molding this light, and you're getting better at molding this light substance regularly. You're improving your skills in utilizing light as a tool. And now it's time to experiment with different colors of the orb of light and have fun exploring those. In your handout, I've even given you suggestions for trying a different color every day over a couple of weeks. For instance, you would focus on red light on one day and then orange light on the next day, yellow all the way through the spectrum. Experimenting with different colors in addition to the spectral colors like pinks and golds, silvers, red violets, referring to your handouts for the details in that. During the practice sessions while you are working coloring the witch light and coloring your orb, you'll use the specific color for the orb that you're working on that day instead of using the generic color of light you normally use. Most people tend to use either the electric blue or the white light. And that's how I recommend that you start your orb. You start your orb the normal way that you do. And once the orb is established, then slowly change it into your chosen color for the day. Now, when you think about the biblical injunction at the beginning of Genesis, let there be light, that's what we're doing. We're letting there be light. And when you start off all your spell casting with the orb of light, you're starting off with that primary substance. Let there be light. Let there be creation. Let my spell be so. And so as you're learning how to color that orb of light, different colors, and work with those different colors, you may also be interested in researching those colors by using my new color magic course as well. In addition, we've worked a bit with this in the intermediate class, where we worked with the different auric colors, but those were planetary colors, and those were specific to each planet. One auric color for the planet was for the waxing moon, and the other auric color for that planet was for the waning moon. And so we were using banishing, invoking types of energies. This is a little less structured, and this is for you to more experiment with the colors. When you add color to your aura, what do you feel? What do you notice? What kinds of responses do you get from your environment when you do that? It's an important part of your training to, rather than receive a set of instructions from me and then practice that, to instead, for this exercise, instead of receiving a bunch of instructions and then practicing them, instead this exercise is more about you trying out some new things for yourself. Just experimenting with color in your aura, in your orb of light, and color as light. That's what we're working on. Not so much the color magic as we discussed in A Witch's Primer, which was more in terms of what candle colors you'll choose or colors that you're going to wear during the day to bring about the magic of each color, or in the color magic course where you're coloring the colors on pieces of paper. This, you're dealing with the colors specifically as light in your aura. And there's all kinds of ways you can experiment with that. After a while, you may experiment with having 2 or 3 different colors of light in your aura, etc. The impact of these different colors will be enlightening. So instead of assigning fixed meanings to each color, try exploring how each color resonates with you personally, taking time to observe your emotional reactions to each color and actually working with it as you allow those colors to permeate your astral double, permeate your being. When you come out of your trance state after working with colored light, you can expect various different experiences, from actual words to just a sense or emotion, different senses, different emotions. You might get different words, communications. Take notes as if it's your personal classroom. So you want to learn from each color on the spectrum. What is it trying to teach you? And for just this course, try not to assign the colors to angels, to planets, to purposes. Try to just disregard everything that you ever knew about each color and act as though you are just getting acquainted with each color for the first time. And notice what that color is doing for you, how it's communicating with you, how it's changing your vibration. And it's a very powerful time in your training, because you're eschewing all of the preconceived notions, which are very helpful when you're a beginner, of what these colors mean. And now you are working with them directly, one-on-one, and trying to let go of all preconceptions and instead letting the colors themselves teach you. For right now, you can expect various experiences, like I said, when you come out of your trance, but avoid right now using black in your aura just for the first couple of weeks. It's not that black is a bad color. it's a fine color. It's just not the purpose of this exercise. The purpose of this exercise is actually to try to use light, colors of light. There is a type of black light. There is a type of black that you can use, and we'll discuss that in another course at another time. It's just not what this course is based on. Again, you can do it. You can experiment with black if you like, but that's not what we're working on this week. But gold, silver, pink, those other colors that aren't technically on the spectrum, that's great. The murky colors like ochres and sickly yellow greens, those are probably not the best ones to work with. It's better to use the vibrant colors right now. The very vibrant colors, the ones that are highly saturated in your mind, and avoid colors that are murky and dour. just working with vibrant color red, vibrant color orange, vibrant color yellow, vibrant orange, vibrant yellow, vibrant green. Even if you're doing green yellow, a vibrant green yellow, not one of those sickly, like bile colored yellow necessarily. Sometimes browns can be something that you can use in your aura if they're somewhat vibrant and you need grounding, but I find green works a little bit better, because you don't want to color your aura something that's depressing. You don't want to color your aura something that's dour, that is sickly. You want to color your aura with things that are vibrant and filled with life. These kinds of color exercises are crucial for mastering the use of light. So even though we're not assigning specific purposes to each color, you will discover specific uses for each color by being open to letting the color teach you. So as you go about your day, you can tap into the power of light when you need any extra support, because you're aligning yourself with this light every day. And so use that light when you need it on the spot as well. You could visualize invoking light, either white light or a colored light, in any situation to enhance that situation without having to go into a trance necessarily and create an orb. But because you're doing it every day in your meditation, it's a skill that's available to you on the spot and on the fly. For instance, if you needed help during a project, you might call upon the principle of light itself to bring brightness into this scenario, to enlighten you, to bring a solution to it. So the white light, the electric blue light, and all the other colors can be brought into different situations in your life to experiment with. You can try green light, red light, violet light, dark purple, light lavender. Some colors work better in certain situations than others, and you'll discover that as you work with them. If none of the colors resonate with you, then just stick to the electric blue or the white light in a specific situation. Bringing light purposefully into your life can help to dissolve problems and obstacles on the spot. So you can use plain white light in any situation. You can use that blue witch light or any of the colors on the spectrum that seem to be appropriate to you. And those are decisions that you're now going to have to make on your own rather than looking up correspondences. You really need to have personal relationships with these light colors. So playing with the spectrum, playing with light, playing with color, using light as a practical tool, not only in your meditation, but on the spot when you are in situations that need help, using light purposefully. Okay, I also want to talk about sonic power. To enhance your abilities in magic, you want to consider utilizing what many people refer to as sonic power. That's harnessing the power of your voice. You can effectively channel energy by focusing on your voice as a powerful tool. Combining this with working with light, you will soon notice a significant increase in your capabilities, magically speaking. For a practical demonstration, you can find a private space to experiment with your voice without disturbance, even if that means being in a closed parked car if you don't have any privacy anywhere else. Once you have some privacy, enter your light trance. You don't need to do anything real heavy. Perform your normal orb of light routine, and perhaps even use one of your colors if you're working on that at the same time. Now, if you have a problem or if you have a goal, you can choose a word or phrase that seems to address that problem or goal. It could be peace, it could be wealth, it could be love, freedom, joy, or a brief affirmation like I am entitled to happiness, whatever it is. Keep it concise. You don't want too many syllables. A single word, I think, works the best, personally. Also, stick to English for right now. Don't do foreign words right now. Stick to your native language for now. Don't use foreign languages. The language that you feel the most at home with, that you feel like is your primary language, that's the language you should work with. You can use other languages that are not your native languages later once you've mastered this, but for now, just stick to your native language, whether it's English, Spanish, French, or any other. I like having a mental, visual symbol to represent my goal because it helps me to focus. And I simply chant my word repeatedly out loud, visualizing the energy of my voice positively impacting the situation. And if I'm visualizing a symbol, I see that very clearly in my mind's eye as I'm chanting this word. And this practice helps to realign our energies and to create the wavelengths necessary to have the outcome that you desire. It's actually working with the wavelengths of light and the wavelengths of sound together are extremely potent, extremely powerful tools for creating change instantly. So you want to, when you're practicing using your voice like that, let it come from the depths of you when you're chanting. Not just a pretty sound, but a genuine expression of whatever quality you're trying to express, whether it's love, peace, power, whatever it is. And experiment with different pitches until you feel the shift that you're looking for. Experimenting with this sonic power to break through any blocks that you have. So you combining it with the witchlight. If you're combining it with the witchlight exercise, boy, expect some major changes. You can call upon an infinite principle that resonates with you with your voice, like life or soul or spirit or truth, etc. And you can use that as your power word. But whatever your power word is, you want to repeat it in a very powerful voice until you feel some sort of shift and you sense a change. Sometimes there's a very significant shift, and at other times it's a very subtle but powerful shift. But once you get used to working with this, you can harness this power also silently when needed. It's good to practice it out loud first, though, so that you can get the feel of it. And then when you need to use it silently, you can recreate the inner sound of what you heard while you were chanting and the feeling of those vibrations. So you can hear yourself internally doing what you have been practicing physically. And that way, you don't have to find a private place all the time if you need to do this. Or if you're out in the grocery store, you don't want to just start chanting. You'll be able to do it, on the spot just by hearing it in your mind and seeing the light. And you can see changes just almost immediately. You can get very, very good at this. So starting with practicing the audible version of sonic power is recommended. And then you can use that to transition into a silent intonation. And once you are at that level where that silent intonation is matching what you can do physically, you don't need to use the physical version anymore if you don't want to, although it's a good idea to use it occasionally just to tune up with it. The ability to use your voice or intone silently holds such immense power, magically speaking. So the other thing that I want you to be aware of is how you use your voice daily. How you use your voice daily. Now, there's going to be, everybody's got their own dialects and their own regional ways of speaking. And so we don't want to step on that. That's fine. You can own that. But there are certain things that happen with the voice that rob us of our power that we don't necessarily understand. Things like skipping consonants. For instance, glottal substitution. And this is a very common colloquial dialect, and we're not saying that you have to get rid of it, but be aware of it so that you can get rid of it when you need to use your voice for power. For instance, let's see. She was setting it down on the table. There are people that would say, she is saying it down. They can't say the T. Saying. I didn't. No, I didn't do that. Now that's okay colloquially. It's charming. It's wonderful. But recognize that you're not allowing yourself to use a consonant, and that T consonant has power. So when you're wanting to own your power with your voice in regular conversational speech, say the T. Another thing that is very common these days is for people to inflect up as if asking a question when they are saying something definitive. I'm not saying that that's wrong and that you should always get rid of that under every circumstance, but when you are trying to own your power in the moment, don't do up talk. Don't do that, unless you're asking a question. You don't say, did you see that? Well, that's a question. And then I told him no. And then he said yes. And I said no. And it really made me mad. And I'm really mad now. And do you understand how mad I am? Only one of those was a question. The last one. So I gave my power away 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times by doing that. Right? So be aware of that. Every time you use your voice in a way that's counter to your power, you're giving your power away. When you inflect up, when you mean something definitive, you are losing power in that moment by not taking charge of the tone of your voice. So little things like that. Notice how you're speaking. Use all the consonants. Use all the vowels. Say what you mean what you say, and allow your voice to be definitive in what you're saying. Don't pull back. Don't hold back. Don't hide behind little vocal tricks that are popular in popular culture when you're trying to own your own power, because that's just yet another way that we are sucked into the group mind when we don't allow ourselves to be purposeful about how we're using our voice. We just start talking like everybody else. You hear that a lot of time when people use a lot of vocal fry because they don't want to be heard, and they're just going to talk like this because they don't really want anybody to hear them. No. You speak in a clear voice. You speak in a clear, powerful voice when you need to be using your voice for magic. And you can use your voice for magic in conversation. You can own your power in any conversation by taking back your voice and not doing this and not doing this, right? Not missing consonants, saying your consonants, saying your vowels, owning your words, sonic power in the moment. Again, we're not saying that you can't have dialects, that you shouldn't ever participate in colloquial ways of using your voice, just not when you're trying to own your voice in a magical situation or in a social situation where you need your own power to be at its forefront. Notice what you're doing with your voice. All right, now I want to talk about allowing magic to happen. If you're not seeing the results that you want with your magic, we want to fix that. Everything doesn't have to be long and hard and difficult and challenging. That's not, if that was the case, then what's the point, right? Magic can help you to speed things up and to make things easier. That's the whole idea. And although magic takes time, it's a lifelong journey, it's a lot of discipline, and there are levels of difficulty in magic, just like in anything else. You should be able to get some decent results without a whole bunch of training, without too much effort, right? And if you're not able to get those results, it's possible that you're just not letting it happen. If you spend just a few moments seeing what you want, or using the sonics, as we say here, or just using the basic spellcasting tools that we've given you in the first lesson before bedtime, you should be seeing results. You should be seeing tangible outcomes. And many find that the majority of their efforts don't yield the results that they want. But what I'm saying is that you should have a success rate of at least 90%. So if you're not seeing that, we have to make We have to just make a little tweak. Some people struggle with these low returns on their magic because they focus on transmitting. They're really getting good at that, about raising energy, focusing energy, making thought forms, doing all that stuff. They're doing great with that. But they're not receiving. They're not allowing it to happen. They're not having that downtime, that rest time, that time when they don't do anything, when it's not in their hands anymore. They invest in all of these things, these tools and these techniques and all of these practices, and they read and they read and they read and they go on websites and they talk and they talk, and they've got all this stuff going about how they can raise energy and what they can do, but they're not seeing the results because they're not allowing the results to happen. When your energy is ready to manifest and it conflicts with your beliefs, your deep mind will reject it because your deep mind holds on to status quo. And so until your deep mind recognizes that there's a new status quo in town, it's not going to let those things happen. It'll return the energy, like return to sender, not here. And ultimately, you control your energy. But if your beliefs, if your deep held beliefs clash with your goals, your deep mind's not going to accept them, nor should it, because it's there to protect you. So you want to align your deep belief infrastructure, your belief infrastructure, or with your desires. You want to align your infrastructure, your internal infrastructure of beliefs with your desires so that you can see the results manifesting quickly. And then you'll start receiving accumulated blessings. Like they've been built, like they've been piling up in a savings account waiting for you. And once you make the right adjustments, the things that you've always wanted start to happen rapidly. So if you find that you're blocked from seeing the manifestations of what you desire, try this. Close your eyes and envision all the good that you've sought coming to you, and affirm all the good I deserve is mine. Just tell yourself that all the good I deserve is mine, and it's flowing to me in blessings, and it's multiplying in wonderful ways. Just see that and envision yourself filled with energy and blessings and success and results and waves of wonderful things coming your way, things that you don't even have to work on because you've worked on them for years. All the spells that you've been working on since the beginning are now coming true for you in the most wonderful ways, in the most wonderful manifestations, in forms that you didn't even know were possible for you. And begin focusing on the things that you can receive and seeing yourself receiving them easily. Most of us aren't lacking in the basic necessities. We have access to meals. Most of us can eat, right? Most of us have oxygen, water, shelter, some clothing. Most of us have some form of transportation. These things are stuff that we usually take for granted as part of our daily lives, unless something really catastrophic happens and you're restricted in some of those areas. It's natural for most of us to have these essentials: eating, breathing, bathing, and maintaining basic personal the basic personal needs, the basic needs, human needs, basic human needs. Of course, you have the right to this. Nobody questions that. I have the right to eat. I have the right for transportation. I have the right to have some shelter and some clothing. Those are a given. We take those essentials for granted because we've always had them. But similarly, you shouldn't have to plead for any of the other desires that you have. Whether you are aiming for success in business or art, music, health, wealth, joy, companionship, you have the same right to pursue those goals as you do for your very basic necessities. And start thinking like that and vocalize your aspirations. Just like you deserve a meal, you deserve to have a job that you want. You deserve to have money. You deserve to have a car that you like. You deserve to have a new wardrobe. You deserve to have that new house, whatever it is. You deserve 3 meals a day, or however many meals you like to eat, just like you deserve to breathe oxygen, and you deserve to sleep in a bed, and you deserve to have a roof over your head. You deserve those things. And you also deserve all the other blessings that you work for and you desire. So acknowledge your worth. Allow yourself to receive what you desire. Learn to accept and to allow these things to manifest, and notice your reactions when good things happen. When good things start happening, do you say, uh-oh, now the other shoe's going to fall. Ooh, do I deserve this? Oh, am I going to be able to handle this? What are your reactions? Those are those deep held beliefs about yourself. So if you can practice seeing yourself receiving these things with joy and just starting to respond in your mind when you see yourself receiving these things, the same way that you respond when you eat your dinner or when you go to bed at night, like, well, yeah, I'm very grateful for these things, but of course I have them. Why wouldn't I? Right? Of course I'm grateful for these things, but I also know that they're going to be there. They don't seem like this big magical occurrence. Everybody has those, right? At least most of us do. So you need to start seeing your other desires as being on the same level as you deserve those things just as much as you deserve something to eat. When you start seeing that in your mind and feeling that in your body, you know that your deep mind is saying, I get it. I understand. We can have these things too. There's no hierarchy. All of your desires are of the same. There's no order of hierarchy of which of your desires is okay and which isn't okay. All of your desires have the same merit. So thinking like that, just taking a little bit of time, thinking and seeing that and feeling deserving of your desires is all that it really takes to reprogram that deep mind. The deep mind is not that challenging. I know people say it as, oh, it's so hard to reprogram that deep mind. You really have to. No, it's not. You just have to be honest with it. You just have to relax your mind, relax your body, and start to show it, start to teach it. Do you see this? I'm going to have these wonderful blessings. I'm going to have all this new money, and it's just going to be like a normal thing. It's going to be no different than eating dinner. It's going to be no different than going to bed. It's going to be no different than brushing my teeth. It's going to be no more of a big deal than anything else that I take for granted. And when you just talk to it like that, and you use the power of your visualization and the power of your feeling body, that water body, to just start to relax into and feel the certainty of those things, your deep mind starts to pick that up and say, yes. Because your deep mind is your friend. It's trying to help you. So if you find yourself repeatedly struggling with certain issues, like constantly needing to perform spells for temporary or mediocre results, it's time to shift your approach. Instead of being stuck in a cycle, consider the challenges that you're experiencing as opportunities to propel yourself forward, and recognize those patterns and reframe them and use them as tools for growth. You can break through to new levels in an instant. Whether it's a financial struggle or any other recurring issue, embrace those challenges and transform them into stepping stones and break through in an instant. Do it in the instant. It doesn't take a lot of time. The deep mind isn't, we say it needs to be conditioned and reconditioned over time, but it doesn't take a specific amount of time. It just takes a specific amount of understanding. So once you understand that these things are your divine birthright, then your deep mind will say, oh, I see, it's our birthright. And that's the way it'll start acting. So for instance, the first, if it was a money thing, the first step is to address the money thing up front. Understand and acknowledge the issue, and then approach your financial concerns as if they were a specific separate entity. Have a conversation with them. Express gratitude for their intentions. Ask what they're trying to achieve by keeping you financially constrained. Consider whether they're trying to shield you from disappointment, or maybe they're trying to prevent materialism. Maybe they have some sort of weird logic that you were taught as a child that you forgot about. Maybe they're preserving some old belief that money is always a struggle, and they're doing that out of a sense of loyalty, perhaps. Maybe your parents struggled with money, and it may feel like you're being disloyal to them if you surpass them financially. So have an open discussion with money. or with whatever the situation is, and have that talk. Listen, you can take notes, you can show gratitude, you can say thank you for helping me, right? And then gently guide their support toward what your new goals are. Ask for their blessings to align with your new aspirations, and request their love and respect as you pursue your financial security. You no longer need to believe that staying in a financial hardship is somehow a way to respect your parents or to protect you from greed or something like that. Instead, you start to share with them, no, we are going to prosper financially, and it's going to make everything wonderful for us and everybody around us. And we're going to show them in our visualizations, show whatever this force is, whatever this situation is, we're going to show it with our visualizations, our ideas of what we want. And we want to, in our minds, get those thought forms that have been holding us back on board with our new ideas of what we want. And you talk with the problem as a friend, because you acknowledge that it's been trying to do something good for you, and now you're just giving it a new task rather than banishing it and banishing it and banishing it. It's not so much that you want to banish it because it's part of your mind. You want to re-educate it. I remember once I had a financial situation like that in business, and I didn't have the expertise to handle certain things in business, and it led me to really limit my ambitions and to avoid really going for what I wanted, because I figured that I'd fail because I didn't have the skills necessary. And I recognized this. I recognized this when I was working with my money, and I recognized that I needed to change this. So I decided that I wanted to aim for a more tremendous financial success instead, and acknowledged my need for support in understanding how to do that. And so by setting this new goal and seeking assistance, I was able to focus on my strengths and to delegate the tasks that I wasn't skilled at. And that in my magic, I by acknowledging that, the universe sent me the people and the help I needed. So if you find yourself in a similar situation, remember that it's fine to seek help and to delegate tasks and to call on the universe to bring to you the help that you need to fill in the blanks that you don't understand. And it'll do just that. In fact, I know so many very successful people that are not very good with money, but they're good with money because they surround themselves with people that are good with money. And that's just the way the universe works. So when you're talking to yourself, when you're using the self-talk that we're talking about here, try speaking to your problem or your situation like you're talking to another person out loud. Assure this different part of your mind that they are safe and guided by your superconscious mind. Remind them of your divine plan. Comfort them. Any deep fears that come up, you can just tell them that those deep fears can be released. You are safe. You are protected. And just reassure them. Affirm those positive statements to them, like I'm receiving all the good that is mine right now. I'm receiving all the good that is mine right now. If you struggle with the concept of completion, for instance, embrace the idea of divine completion. A lot of times that's what it is. We are so afraid of being complete, because if you're complete, it means something bad. We pick this up as little kids. As soon as you finish something worse might happen. Or maybe you, when you had to clean your plate, and that was and you didn't like to eat that much, or something like that, and you associated with finishing something, dinner, as something unpleasant. So you always had this idea that completion is unpleasant. Or you had to go to bed before you wanted to go to bed, so the idea of completing your day was unpleasant. Whatever it was, many people have this idea that completion is unpleasant. So if you notice that that's true for you, you're going to notice that a lot of your spells don't complete. They don't come true for you. And so if completion's a problem with you, you can just tell yourself, I'm complete. I'm whole and complete right now. I have nothing to complete because I'm already complete. And you can focus on manifesting success and completion in your life that way. And when you tell the problem when you talk to it like a person, you can tell it, we're complete. There's nothing that we need to worry about. We're complete right now. We're safe. We're fine. We're doing great. It's safe for us to succeed, or whatever it is that is the problem. Talk to it. You can support it. Talk to it like an old friend, and that's the way that you're going to so-called reprogram or recondition that deep mind, by just doing it, by just chatting with it. You don't need to wait for something in the future. You can expect it now. So just let your magic happen. Allow your magic to happen. Have a hands-off approach once you're done with a spell. When you're done with a spell and you feel like you've done it, let it go. Just be clear that it's working. You've already had that conversation with that problem. You've already had that conversation with that goal. It knows what it's doing. The universe knows what it's doing. Everybody knows what it's doing. You don't need to get your grubby little paws on it anymore. You can let it go and just let it succeed. Forget about it and move on and let magic happen. Often we fall short of our desired results because we've mistakenly believed that it's either material success or spiritual growth, one or the other. But the truth is that you're supposed to have both, and that there's no separation between the two. And don't allow yourself to be trapped by the limited thinking that promotes such ideas. Instead of acknowledging their struggles, many people develop elaborate theories about practical results being inferior to spiritual pursuits. And that's a false notion. There's no magical law supporting that. Remember, as above, so below. So avoid being an uneducated, ignorant, foolish magician. Anyone thinking that way embodies those traits. And it's not their fault, but it is their responsibility to re-educate themselves. So we must be realistic that it's ignorant and foolish to believe that you must choose between healing and spirituality. That's absurd. It's the epitome of superstitious thinking. And anyone who believes that are misguided. I frequently encounter this and hear it, but not in my classes. So I just leave it alone. I don't ever try to convince anybody, unless they're in a class of mine, that they're on the wrong track, because it's not my business. It's not up to me to change their thinking. But I do observe it, and I wonder how they're being taught these bizarre concepts that it's either spiritual or it's money. It's either spiritual or it's healing. It's either spiritual or it's a good relationship. You don't want to go down that path. Make a very clear decision right now that every success practically boosts your spiritual growth. You want to harness the power of your superconscious mind for your own spiritual becoming. It's not about using your personal will to manipulate others, but instead it's about discovering your purpose, your true will, your magical will, and taking action and progressing. And that is spiritual progress. By aligning your desires with your own spiritual growth, you can evolve rapidly and achieve so much success in your life. Results that would typically take lifetimes to achieve. You can embrace any discomfort that you experience as you grow quickly as a sign of growth. Sometimes discomfort is pleasure in disguise. It shouldn't be painful. It shouldn't hurt. You shouldn't feel strained when you're growing magically and spiritually. But sometimes you'll feel different, and that discomfort is sort of like when you're stretching. It's uncomfortable, but it's an exquisite discomfort, and that's what you want. To achieve success, decide that each success that you obtain contributes to your spiritual growth. Just know that that's true. Know that that's true. And don't fall into this trap of thinking one or the other. Am I going to work on my spirituality, or am I going to work on my practical concerns? They both are the same thing. Think of it as steering your ship toward a destination. Once you achieve or reach a destination, then you decide upon your next move, and then you steer your ship to that. And while progressing toward that goal, unexpected events may occur that cause you to need to navigate on the go, handling issues as they arise promptly. This is like how we do when we work with magic in the moment. All of these tools and techniques that we're giving you allow you to deal with problems that arise swiftly using perhaps a steady stream of light or those sonic ideas, all of the other kinds of tools that you've been learning here, learning how to navigate in the moment. To maintain your course, you must persist with the necessary actions until you're back on track if you've been detoured. But utilize all the available resources that you have. Rally all parts of your mind to work toward the common goal instead of giving up at the first sign of trouble. Keep at it until whatever issue is that you're working on is resolved. Address daily changes promptly and effectively using all of the tools provided in this course. Those are designed for success. Remember to stay committed and persistent, handling all your obstacles on the spot. You're in control of this ship. You're in control of your life. Use the divine principles that we give you to tap into your higher self, your superconscious mind, and to direct your deep mind to achieve what you desire. When unexpected bills arise, for instance, take a moment to center yourself. Focus on the abundance that's your birthright. Repeat words like wealth or prosperity or solution, using the sonic power to attract what you need. Express gratitude for the money that you require appearing instantly and effortlessly. Take charge confidently and handle these challenges with joy, knowing that your success is inevitable. That you can, once you address the problem, once you address the challenge using one of these techniques, know that it's been taken care of and you can take your hands off of it and it's going to be resolved for you. Just like if you were a captain on a ship and you knew your crew very well, you could delegate your issue to somebody on your team, on your crew, and know that it's handled. And you can check up with it later. The captain doesn't have to do every little thing, shouldn't do every little thing, or the ship will go down. Right? Or it'll never leave the dock in the first place. So you also have a huge crew. And that's what all of these techniques are. Okay, before we end, I want to just really quickly remind you of the power of your imagination and visualization, and to encourage you to develop your visualization and your imagination by reading and listening to stories. Fairy tales are my go-to, but any kind of literature, fables, fairy tales, legends, myths, anything that's visual in nature and easy to read. You don't need to do difficult literature. You can listen to storytellers on YouTube or in audiobooks. You can have storytelling sessions. Remember that watching movies and TV is fun, and there's nothing wrong with it. But if you do watch movies and TV or you play video games, the image-making capacity is not working because those images are already provided for you on the screen. So augment the time that you spend watching anything on the screen with reading or listening to stories so that you can exercise the image-making capabilities that are a natural part of your mind that come into play when you read or listen to stories. And not everybody will perceive those things the same way. So if you don't notice it as an actual visual picture in your mind, whatever it is your way of visualizing. Whatever it is the way that your imagination works for you. So whatever it is that you experience when you read a story or somebody tells you a story, especially stories that have a lot of imagery in them, that's what your magical imagination looks like. And you want to keep growing it and growing it and growing it. And witches and magicians who do this on a regular basis are much more powerful and effective than witches who do not do this, because they don't have as exercised and resilient of an imaginative faculty. And your imagination can take care of anything that you encounter. Your imagination can take care of anything you encounter. The ability to see that light that we're talking about, the ability to picture yourself in a different situation, whatever it is, your imagination, if it's strong, it can counter any problem that life throws at you. So it's a very important part of magic, is your ability to have a strong imagination. And the best way to work that imagination out and really strengthen it more and more and more infinitely is through utilization. So you want to use it. And the only way to use it that is, well, there's many ways to use it, but the way that works fast and efficiently is reading stories or listening to stories. All right, we have one more class next week, and then we'll be done with this course, and I hope that you're enjoying it. This week for your homework, in your handout, I want you to work with the witch light. I've given you a 7-day color light exercise. You don't have to follow that if you don't want to. It's just a suggestion. But do make sure that you work with each color on the basic spectrum first for a whole day, just so that you can start to get a sense of what these colors are like in your aura, and those colors themselves can start to teach you. Also start working with your sonic power, using that voice, using your voice, and then using it internally, like we discussed. Learn to allow magic to happen. Learn how to receive your good rather than only putting out your intention. Learn how to let it manifest. Learn how to have a hands-off approach and let things happen for you. Learn how to perceive all of your problems as opportunities for spiritual growth, because you can cast spells on those problems or goals. And when you achieve success with those problems or goals, you are growing spiritually. There is no division. Working on magic in the moment is another thing that I want you to work with. In the moment, as things happen, learn how to use these tools to navigate your ship in the moment, having major changes happen as you go without having to get back to an altar or get back into a trance or any of that. Use those daily trance work states to keep you primed so that you can work magic in the moment. And then work on exercising your imagination in your visualization this week by listening to stories, reading stories, etc. And really commit yourself to working out on that in that gym of imagination, working out in the gym of imagination to strengthen that imagination so that your magic is quite a formidable force. Until next week, much love and many blessings. Well, that was an hour, and we'll probably edit that down to about 30 minutes because I went on and on about stuff. Let's see if we have any questions here. Okay, we do not. Okay, well, I hope that you're enjoying this course. One more class to go. I did put up last week's class in its edited version, so it's a little easier to listen to because I'm not going off the track as much. And we'll be back next week for our final class. Thank you so much to the amazing moderators, Honeypaw, Jennifer, and I am Her Eminence. We'll see you next week. Blessed be.